Author, clinical psychologist, media figure from Canada, Jordan Bernt Peterson is also an emeritus professor at the University of Toronto. In the late 2010s, he gained broad recognition as a public intellectual due to his conservative views on culture. The idea that women were oppressed throughout history is an appalling theory. It's very hard to find your own words, and you don't actually exist until you have your own words. It's an responsibility that most people find the meaning that sustains them through life. It's not unhappiness. It's not an impulsive pleasure. No one gets away with anything, ever, so take responsibility for your own life. 1. I don't tell people, you were okay the way that you are. That's not the right story. The right story is, you were way less than you could be. Give and gain motivation. Don't lie about anything, ever. Lying leads to hell. Free speech is not just another value. It's the foundation of Western civilization. If you don't stand your ground, then all that happens is people push you backwards. Don't compare yourself with other people, compare yourself with who you were yesterday. The truth is something that burns. It burns off deadwood. And people don't like having the deadwood burnt off, often because they're 95% deadwood. Life is tragic. You are tiny and flawed and ignorant and weak, and everything else is huge, complex, and overwhelming. When you start to realize how much of what you've constructed of yourself is based on deception and lies, that is a horrify. The people who hold that our culture is an oppressive patriarchy, they don't want to admit that the current hierarchy might be predicated on competence. If you're a social scientist worth your salt, you never do a univariate analysis. If you're talking to a man who wouldn't fight with you under any circumstances whatsoever, then you're talking to someone for whom you have absolutely no respect. To master a new technology, you have to play with it. It is more difficult to rule yourself than to rule a city. Accept the terrible responsibility of life with eyes wide open. Women deeply want men who are competent and powerful. And I don't mean power in that they can exert tyrannical control over others. That's not power. That's just corruption. It's very difficult to regulate yourself, and if you learn to do that, well, it starts to spill over. It makes sense that a witch lives in a swamp. It's not proper for the government to intrude too thoroughly into the domain of the family. It's inappropriate. You have to listen very carefully and tell the truth if you are going to get a paranoid person to open up to you. We deserve some respect. You deserve some respect. You are important to other people, as much as to yourself. If you learn a martial art, you learn to be dangerous, but simultaneously, you learn to control it. Become aware of your own insufficiency. Happiness is a pointless goal. Music has an intrinsic meaning, which has always been mysterious to me. I am not going to be a mouthpiece for language that I detest. If you're going to be successful, you need to be smart, conscientious, and tough. You can't go backward in life.